So I've got this footage that I'm not the greatest cameraman. I'm working on it, but I have this amazing encounter that I had this past summer. It was a really calm day, so I was able to take my clients out to the Barren Islands, which is one of the most amazing places in the Pacific. The Barren Islands sit at the kind of the mouth of Cook Inlet, which is the area of South Central Alaska that has the largest tides in the Pacific. I think it's the largest tides anywhere in the Pacific Ocean happen in Cook Inlet. And these islands, old volcanic islands, they're kind of considered the northern extent of the Kodiak archipelago. And they're these big rocky islands that just kind of jut up out of the ocean. And then there's this enormous tide that moves in every 6 hours and out every 6 hours. So there's this tremendous amount of water rushing around these islands. And the underwater topography around these islands is super dramatic. It shoots up from like almost 500 feet in the Kennedy entrance up to above sea level. And there are these craggy canyons in between the islands, and there's just this amazing amount of life. And this one day in June, right around the solstice, I took these guys out to fish for halibut at the Barrens. And this has never happened to me before in all the years I've been guiding, but it did happen this day. And then something similar happened, but not nearly as close up a few days ago. So you'll have to forgive my camera work, but we got surrounded by fin whales. And everybody knows about blue whales because blue whales are the largest whales on Earth. But fin whales really aren't that much smaller than blue whales. They're enormous. And most of the guys that have been guiding longer than me in Alaska have seen 2 or 3 a year. But we were so fortunate this one day. We were surrounded by them, and there were like 10 of them, and they were all lunge feeding on the surface. And when we saw them from a distance, their pectoral fins were sticking up out of the water, and it almost looked like the dorsal fin of a killer whale. But as we got a little bit closer, we realized that no, those aren't killer whales. They're something even more rare and awesome, fin whales. And so I kind of got as close as I legally could, and then I kind of just took the engines out of gear, and then they surrounded us, and they were just lunge feeding right up next to the side of the boat. I wish I had a dedicated camera person who could have captured it better than I did, but I kind of stuck it all together, and this is just from stuff on my phone, so you'll have to see what it is that I mean, but it is incredible. These are amazing animals. They're lunge feeding on capelin or sand lance. Some of the fish that we were catching were coughing up quite a bit of capelin and sand lance, which are these small silvery bait. Capelin are very nutritiously dense, very oily. They're also known as candlefish because supposedly you could stick a wick in them and they'll burn like a candle because they have so much oil. And sand lance or needlefish, they are also very nutritious, kind of silvery. They almost look like little silver snakes, especially when they're alive. They squirm around like a snake. But this is really cool and super rare, and so I stuck it together just so you can kind of get an idea of what it's like. The Barren Islands, the coolest place I know of in the Pacific, and this encounter is probably once in a lifetime.